welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. So it's my friends at yarnspirations.com. Today is the popcorn square crochet tote bag. Now this kind of bag is really unique in the sense that the way that it's put together, and you will find many other patterns that are available out there that are literally the squares and put together exactly the same way. So I'm going to make this a two-part video series, and the second part will be linked in the video description on how to put this together. My main goal today is just to show you how the handle is made and how one of these squares, and the other video is going to show you how it's going to assemble and put them together in order to do that. And the reason why I'm separating it is that the next video of putting this together can apply to other patterns that exist out there that are examples like this. This is the Karen cotton cakes, and this is exactly the same way that it's put together. Don't let the shape fool you. The way that these squares are is the same in the sense of putting it together. Now what you'll see here is that this one here is more of a flat. This one has texture, so you'll see that it can behave a little bit differently, but the join on how things are put together is in the same formation, but sometimes it will ask you to slip stitch, sometimes it'll ask you to single crochet, and etc. And we'll cover that in video number 2. So this video we're going to concentrate on making this. I did make this with Lily Sugar and Cream yarn, and I used a total of 5 balls. So Lily Sugar and Cream, you see what I got left here of the one side or one flavor, and the colors that I used you will find in the more information of this video. You will find a link to this particular pattern, and I will link those colors there. I will say it here just in case you don't feel like going over there. I used the color Overcast, Beach Glass, Light Blue, Teal, and Hot Blue, and I just randomly did these particular ideas. So there are a total of 13 squares. So I made one as Overcast, which is right here, and then the other ones I did 3 of each of these 4 colors, and I just randomly put it into the bag. Let me show you my sample where I am right now, and I'll show you how to make one of these squares. Welcome to my channel, and I'm here to inspire you, give you crochet advice, and help you along with your next project. If you enjoyed this pattern, please give me a thumbs up or even comment so I can gauge your interest. It helps me to know what to film next. I'm not very formal here. So currently I'm right here. The next video I'm going to show a lot more detail, but this is where I am. The bottom one was the Overcast, and the rest of it is just kind of random on how it's put in. And what my goal was is not to have any of the same color butt up against on the same flat edge. Certainly I don't mind this. Anyway, there was lessons to learn. That's why there's some strands going out, and then I also have this. So really neat. These are the handles, and I'm going to show you some tips in the next video for that. But our goal is to make these particular squares. They actually go pretty quickly, at least for me, and that's what I'm going to explain how to do next. And there's a diagram on page number 2. On page number 2 is not only the crochet diagram on how one of these are made, but there's actually the schematic on how these are put together, and we'll talk about that in the next video. And there's literally 2 schematics because they puzzle together, and I'll explain that later. So what we have here is the crochet diagram. It's made up of 4 rounds, and one thing you got to watch for is these popcorns in the stitches. You will notice if you really look carefully here is that you're skipping a stitch when you're in this row here. Do you see that you're skipping? And then you're skipping the stitch right directly after it. It's hard to see those stitches, so that's why they're asking you to skip it. So let's begin our journey, and it's just using a solid color. If you want to change your colors and make it more random, you can decide to do that, but I'm just going to teach it in a solid color today. Let's begin our stitching journey with a slip knot. And this is classified as an easy level, and I would agree with that as well. So chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I want you to slip stitch it to the beginning chain, and then yarning over, pulling it through and through, and treat the remaining of this strand. You don't have to make it that long, but just as it's going around the ring, and you're going to move on to round number 2, or sorry, round number 1 next. So let's move on. So round number 1 is going to feel awkward to you, especially if you do granny squares on a frequent basis. It's kind of different than what we're used to. We're going to chain 3, and that's your first double crochet, and in the same ring going right over top of that straggler, I need you to place in 3 more double crochet. So it's going to be 1, 2, and 3. Got lots of cat hair today. I think my ball fell on the floor. Okay, so we're going to chain 1 to turn the corner, and in the same ring another 4 more double crochet. So we have 1, 2, 3 and 4. Chain 1 to turn another corner and 4 more double crochet in. This is going to be really tight in the middle here, and the point to it being tight is that you want it these stitches to be tight. It's a bag, so if it's too loose then it gets really sloppy and things can fall out. So we now have technically 3 sides of your square done. So 1, 2, 3. So chain up 1 and do your last side. So we have 1, 2, 3. You see I'm running out of stitches. You just got to move it around the ring just to make space, and do the 4th one, the final, and then that's it. So you're gonna chain up 1 and then slip stitch it to the top of the beginning chain 3 or close to it. So 1, 2, 3, it's right there. It's somewhat buried because it's tight, and that is your start. If you've been going over top of your straggler, I want you to get rid of that now. Any loose ends you want to deal with on these squares on a frequent basis. You don't want to be sewing everything together and then realize that you have all these tails hanging out, because that'll drive you nuts. Let's begin round number 2. In round number 2, right where we're sitting is the wrong space. We need to be sitting freshly in a space. So it's telling us to slip stitch across these 3 plus the space. So moving along in the next double crochet, just slip stitch. I thought this would be more obvious in the appearance than it is, but I am using a solid color, so it didn't actually appear to be a big deal for me. I thought it was gonna be though. So now I'm ready. So round number 2 begins. You chain up 3, and in the same corner space another 3 more double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and then chain 1 to turn the corner, and then in the same space, see how I'm kind of pushing it because I know the same space I need to put in another 4 double crochet. So we have 1, 2, 3 and 4, and now the corner is complete. So I need you to chain 1 and then move to your next chain 1 corner here, and then do the same thing. So it'll be 4 double crochets to start, chain 1 and then 4 more double crochets into there to turn. See, it's unusual, isn't it? If you can leave me a comment if you think that's unusual. I don't see this kind of cornering very often in granny squares, so it's kind of it threw me off when I was starting it. So once the corner is complete, you chain 1 and then move to your next corner. So please do the same thing on your corners and put a chain 1 in between them, and I'll be back at the end of this round number 2. So I have my next corner done, chain 1, and I'm going to join it to the top of the first chain 3. And round number 2 is now complete, and moving on to round number 3 next. Round number 3, we're sitting in the wrong spot. I need to get to the corner, so we slip stitch to the corner first, and we're now going to start applying those popcorns as we do that. So get right to the corner and let's talk. Right where I'm sitting, I want to start up and I want to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and I want to double crochet back into that same corner. So consider that 2 double crochets before the popcorn, because you'll do the popcorn and then to have 2 double crochets after the popcorn. To do the next popcorn, it's made up of 5 double crochets. So what I want to do is just go 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then I want to drop the loop. Come back to the beginning one of the 5. I'm gonna show you a tip in the next corner. You can't do the tip in this particular corner, but you can do it in the next. So you're now just gonna pull through and chain 1 to lock that, and in the same corner space, because it's gonna be tight, you're gonna place 2 more double crochet. So we have 1 and 2. Now you're gonna skip the first stitch and see how it's buried up underneath it anyway, so you're gonna skip it because you can't really access it anyway. So you come to the second one and you start double crocheting yourself across to the next corner, but you want to stop and not do the very last stitch. before the corner. So when you get to the chain one space, just go right into the space, single crochet or double crochet, and then continue along until you get to the next corner. So stop before you get to the last stitch before the corner. So I have one more stitch to go and then it's the corner, so I don't want to do that stitch. Here's what I would do if I were you. I would start this corner and I'd say, okay, I know that I have to do the popcorn and I know that there's 2 double crochet to start with this. So I'm just gonna immediately skip this one and put in 7 double crochet. Just go with me for a second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Once you have the 7 done, you want to go back to the 5th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the start of your popcorners right there on the 5th one. So instead of just saying, okay, I'm gonna put in 2 double crochets and then I'm gonna restart my count to 5, I'm just gonna start and say I'm gonna do 7 and then go back to the 5th one, pull through, chain 1 to lock it, and then put the next 2 double crochet in. I find it's easier to count it that way than it is to separate the counting. It's up to you on how you want to do that. So once you're beyond that corner, you skip the first one out. It's somewhat buried anyway. So you start the next one and you double crochet across and you stop at the one that's right before the corner. And remember to go into that chain 1 space. Okay, nice and easy. So I want you to exercise the same idea for your corners all the way around at this point. So I stop at the one right before the corner. I want to put in my 7 in there. I want to popcorn back onto the 5th one and then I put 2 more double crochets in there and then I move along. Please do this for the remaining of round number 3. When you get all the way around, you're skipping the very last one and then you're just going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 and begin round number 4 as your final round. Let's begin number 4. Number 4 is a duplicate of what you just did here on round number 3. The only difference is that our corner is no longer a chain 1. Our corner is in the top of the popcorn. So we have to get there first. So we're just gonna slip stitch ourselves to the top of the popcorn. Okay, and that chain 1 is the one that locked it. So the chain 1 is the one that is the actual corner of your square. So then we begin again by chaining 3. That's your first double crochet and then you're going to double crochet again. This is gonna be really tight going in here. There's not a lot of space to work with. So there's your 2. We need to create a popcorn, so it's 5 more double crochets into that little tight spot. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we just have to go back to the 5th one to make the popcorn. Chain 1 to lock it, and in that same tight spot you are going to apply 2 more double crochet. It's tight, so if that drives you crazy, that's the rules of the game. It's tight and you want that. So what you have to pay attention to is that you have to skip the first one out. So see that this is the popcorn. This is the first solo stitch by itself. So you're gonna skip this one and you're just gonna start double crocheting on the next one all the way to the other corner, but you don't crochet the one right before the corner like you did before in the last round. So that remains to be true. So the difference is that the corner position is on the top of the popcorn, no longer a chain 1 space. That's the only difference really. So I'm looking as it going across. So I know that there's 2 double crochets that make up in that corner, so I'm gonna go into the first one and then I'm not gonna do the second. I'm going to go to the top of the popcorn. It's the chain 1 that makes the closing, and then this I would say do 7 double crochets like I showed you in the last round. So this is gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and once that 7's done, go back to the 5th one, pick it up, pull through, chain 1 to lock, and in that same tight spot 2 more double crochet. And then we have to skip the first stitch out. It's easy to determine that this is actually part of the stitch here. This is part of the popcorn. So don't include that one as the first one you're skipping. It's this one right here. If you're not sure, look where the corners are coming out and the 2, and you're skipping the first one, going and starting in the second. So please do this all the way around. This is the 4th and final round. When you get all the way around, you are skipping the very last one before the popcorn like you normally would have, and then you're just going to slip stitch to the first. You're officially now done your squares, and so what I would strongly recommend to you is that don't leave all your tails for the end. It'll just be more of a headache for you. So I would turn it around and get rid of your tails right away. The best way to get rid of tails is to throw it through a tapestry needle. If you weave it in with your crochet hook, unless you're extremely gifted, which you could be. I'm not that gifted, but you just have to make sure that you just weave yourself. So stay away from the edge, because you will be using the edge later to attach these together to make this bag. So just kind of gliding up underneath. So you go through once, and then if you separate fibers, it's better. It's harder to separate this out if you divide up the fibers. Some people claim that this stuff still falls out. I've not had that experience, but who knows, right? So back and forth a total of 3 times, and you can set this in your pile. You need a total of 13 of these. So if you're doing a solid bag or a colorful bag, you can decide what your breakdown is going to be, and this would be the popcorn square in granny format. And what I need you to do, we're gonna just quickly review the handles, and then I'm gonna ask you to go to the next video on how to put this together. So let's begin, and you're going to start with a slip knot, and you just need to chain 75. So I'm not going to do 75, but 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So you go all the way to 75. Once you're done that, then you're just going to go second chain from the hook, and you're just going to single crochet yourself across. This would be row number 1. Nice and straightforward, easy. I like going on the back hump of the chain. If you prefer not to, that's your business. You decide. You are the artist at the end of the day. And there's no crochet police to slap your wrist anyway. Thank God for that, right? Okay, so you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna turn your work. That was row 1. Turn, chain 1, and then just single crochet yourself. I literally started by making the handles first, even though it's the last part of this tutorial. And the reason why I wanted to do that is that I wanted to warm up my hands before I did the granny square work. My hands were kind of stiff, so I felt like the handles were the best place to start for me. So turn your work. That was row 2. Single crocheting back and across. That was number 3. Turn your work, and let's do number 4. So you're going to notice that when you're done this, that your ending will be in the opposite side to where the strand started. See the strand? So you'll be on the opposite side when you're going to do that. So if you want to leave longer strands to sew that, I'm not going to use those strands to sew to the bag because I have a reason. And once you have the 4 rows complete like that, you will have a handle that resembles this. So proceed to the next video. Just see the video information link. In the video information I have a link for it, and that's going to be the next part if you'd like to continue along with me today.